Welcome to Premier League Gameweek 10 recap. Let's get into it. Brentford played Brighton and won 2-0. It took just under half an hour for the deadlock to be broken in this match, with Ivan Toney being the man to open the scoring, securing his 50th league goal for Brentford in his 100th appearance for the club after joining them 2 years ago. He then went ahead and doubled his size lead when he put away a penalty in the 64th minute of the game, making him the third top goal scorer in the league so far with 8 goals in 10 games, which are pretty impressive numbers. Something else that's also impressive is the fact that Toney has never missed a penalty during his time at Brentford, with him scoring from the spot all 20 times. And if you go back to even earlier in his career, this is the 29th penalty he scored in a row, which is absolutely mental, and he definitely deserves to be in England's upcoming World Cup squad. Leicester City faced Crystal Palace and drew 0-0. This was a disappointing result for both clubs, as Crystal Palace, who off the back of a win against Leeds United, would have been hoping to capitalise on Leicester's poor form, with the Foxes only having 1 win, 1 draw and 7 losses in the league prior to this match. But Patrick Vieira's side were unable to make the most out of the few chances they had in this match and had to rely on their goalkeeper Guaita to keep them in the game, with him saving all 5 of Leicester's shots on target. Guaita's man of the match performance would have been very frustrating for Leicester, as mentioned earlier, they've had a pretty rough start to this Premier League season, and if they were able to get the ball into the back of the net just once, they likely would have walked away with massive 3 points. But last, they were unable to do so and remain in the relegation zone, which isn't what you'd expect from the Leicester we've come to know in recent years. Fulham came up against Bournemouth and drew 2-2. Bournemouth took an early lead in this match when Dominic Solanke scored in the 2nd minute of the game, but this lead was cancelled out 20 minutes later when Issa Diop headed the ball into the back of the net. Bournemouth were quick to respond to this goal though, as a short while after, Lerma managed to restore the visitors' lead when he slotted the ball past Bernardo. Once again though, Bournemouth were unable to hold on to this lead, as in the 52nd minute, Mitrovic converted the penalty to level the game, and the scoreline stayed at 2-2 for the remainder of the game. This result has extended Bournemouth's unbeaten streak to 5 games, and funnily enough, the only team to be unbeaten since Bournemouth signed or lost to Liverpool is Bournemouth. Wolves are up against Nottingham Forest to beat them 1-0. The only goal in this match came through Wolves captain Ruben Neves, who put away a penalty in the 56th minute of the game to make it so Wolves have now scored their last 18 penalties in the Premier League. Nottingham Forest were also awarded a penalty later on in this match, giving them the perfect opportunity to level the game and come away with a point, but Jose Zal denied Brendan Johnson's effort to keep the scoreline at 1-0, helping his side pick up an important 3 points which has seen them climb out the relegation zone. Now despite being in pretty poor form, the Nottingham Forest Twitter admin seemed to be very confident going into this match, as seen by this tweet that he ended up deleting after Wolves' goal. But Wolves' Twitter admin wasn't having any of it and pulled out the reverse card after the match, with them tweeting playtime's over and an image of an axe in a tree stump, which was the perfect comeback. Tottenham faced Everton and won 2-0. This match was Harry Kane's 400th appearance for Tottenham, and he managed to mark this milestone with a goal. This goal came about an hour into the game, with Spurs being awarded a penalty for Pickford tripping up Kane in the box, and as usual, Kane put away this penalty to get his 9th goal in the league this season. Højbjerg then doubled his size lead in the final few minutes of the game to secure the win for Tottenham, which has left them level on points with Manchester City and 4 points behind league leaders Arsenal. Everton will be left feeling pretty frustrated by this match. In the second half, they accumulated 0 XG, with Spurs dominating them in this entire match, and they also missed a couple of great chances in the first half, which could have potentially changed how things panned out. Aston Villa played Chelsea and lost 2-0. It was Mason Mount who opened the score in this match, with him getting his first goal in the league this season in the 6th minute of the game when Tyrone Mings tried to head the ball away, but instead headed it towards Mount, who was left with a relatively simple finish to put Chelsea in front. About an hour later, Mount made a brace for himself when he scored a free kick from 25 yards out, securing the win for Chelsea to help them remain unbeaten under their new manager, Graham Potter. Kepa also played a big part in Chelsea winning this match, as he made 7 vital saves to keep Chelsea in the game and was a pretty poor defensive performance from them, and despite only playing 3 games in the league this season, he's prevented more goals than any other keeper in the Premier League. Kepa didn't really play much under Tuchel, but this doesn't seem to have affected him too much, as seen for his recent resurgence at Chelsea, with him now being Chelsea's main keeper under Potter. Leeds United were up against Arsenal and lost 1-0. It was an eventful game from minute 1 to minute 90, the game being temporarily suspended less than 1 minute into the match due to a power cut in road and referees not being able to communicate with each other. This led to the game officially starting about 14 minutes after it was supposed to, which probably threw the players a little bit. Once the match had kicked off for the second time, it took 35 minutes for the first and only goal in this match to arrive, with Bukayo Saka scoring a great goal to send the Gunners in front. Although this goal was practically gifted to Arsenal, as Rodrigo crossed the ball directly towards Saka, which was a pretty dumb decision by him. This left the scoreline at 1-0 going into half time, which prompted Leeds manager Jesse Marsch to make a half-time substitution, with Patrick Bamford replacing Rodrigo on the pitch. Bamford almost immediately made an impact on this match when he got the ball into the back of the net, but his goal was ruled out due to him pushing Gabriel right before he struck the ball. Leeds then had another opportunity to level the game, and they awarded a penalty for a William Saliba handball, but Patrick Bamford's shot slid wide to keep the scoreline at 1-0. Leeds began to pile on the pressure after this, but just weren't able to get the ball past Ramsdale, who saved all 4 of Leeds' shots on target in this match. However, a couple of minutes into stoppage time, it looked like Leeds were finally going to be able to equalise the game, and they awarded another penalty, this time for a red card offence by Gabriel, who kicked out at Bamford as he was falling to the ground. But after a VAR check, referee Chris Kavanagh reversed his penalty decision, as it turns out Bamford had fouled Gabriel prior to Gabriel kicking out at him, and as well as this, Gabriel's red card was changed to a yellow. This wasn't an easy win by any means for Arsenal, but they managed to come away with the 3 points, leaving them 4 points clear at the top of the table. Man United faced Newcastle and drew 0-0. Man United's previous match was a 1-0 win against Cypriot side Ammonia, and Europa League, with the main theme of that match being United's poor finishing, with them having 34 shots against that side, with 13 being on target and only 1 going in. And this poor finishing carried on over into this match against Newcastle, with Man United only having 2 out of 15 shots on target and neither of these shots going past the keeper. Ronaldo did get the ball into the back of the net a couple of times however. The first time was offside, so the goal was rightfully ruled out, but the second time was a little more debatable. Newcastle awarded a free kick, and as the referee was blowing his whistle, Fabian Schär rolled the ball back to post so he could take it. Ronaldo saw this and perceived this as the ball being in play and took the ball with post whistle next to it and put it into the back of the net, but the goal didn't count and he received the yellow card for doing this. If you look back at the clip, Schär touches the ball at pretty much the exact same time the ref blows his whistle, so it makes sense as to why United would have considered the ball to be in play. Southampton came up against West Ham and drew 1-1. Southampton took the lead first in this match, where Romain Parr's shot deflected off a West Ham defender and into the ball corner, although this goal did come with some controversy as the referee blocked Jarrod Bowen's path to prevent him from getting to the ball before Parr's. And if the ref was more aware of his surroundings, then Southampton may not have scored it. West Ham did manage to level the game later on however, with Declan Rice scoring a brilliant goal from outside the box to help his side come away with a point. Finally, Liverpool up against Man City and beat them 1-0 to give Man City their first loss of the season. This was a pretty surprising result, as Liverpool haven't been as good as we know they can be this season, and Man City have been in brilliant form, with them being unbeaten going into this match and scoring the most goals as well as keeping the most clean sheets in the league so far. Man City thought they had broken the deadlock in this match and Phil Foden got the ball into the back of the net, but his goal ended up being ruled out due to a foul from Erling Haaland in the build-up. Speaking of Erling Haaland, this was an unusually quiet day from him, with this match against Liverpool being his first game in the Premier League where he hasn't got at least 1 goal contribution. Not too long after this, Alisson cleared the ball down the pitch and towards Salah, which Cancelo tried to intercept, but the defender slipped, leaving Salah thrown goal for Ederson, where he then scored to send Liverpool in front towards the end of the match. This was a hectic match, and Man City dropping points here means Arsenal have now gone 4 points above them at the top of the league. Anyway, that's Premier League Gameweek 10 recap. If you made this far and you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and watch out, comment on your opinion on any matches happening this game week. With that being said, have a good one guys. See ya.